Welcome to Faith in 5, a weekly video devotional designed to discuss practical spiritual concepts in 5 minutes or less. I'm your host, Mark Vandella. I love music. I love music because I believe that it stirs us. It stirs something inside of us. And I also have seen a number of times where music brings us together. Music from different cultures can help us cross barriers and racial boundaries and things of that nature. When you walk into a church, sometimes music can be absolutely comforting and welcoming to people. And oddly enough, I also happen to find God in music that isn't anything about Him. So we're going to take a look at a couple of songs over the next couple of weeks that are just kind of out in left field, but for some reason they have spoken to me or they've spoken to somebody else and they've shared that with me. See, when I was working at a church, we often tried to find songs that were popular songs you'd hear on the radio, and we tried to put them at the front of the service just to engage people, and we tried to find ones that fit. And as I became more and more a part of this team, my friends picked up on the fact that I had a say in the matter, and so they would start sending me emails or texts about songs that they actually heard God or they found comforting in their faith journey. And so I had a friend, Amy, shoot me a text one day and said, "You have to listen to this song. It's called Next to Me by Emily Sandy or Sunday. I don't know how exactly you pronounce it, but it's called Next to Me." And she said, it is just one of those songs that when I play it in my car, it feels like God is in the seat next to me. It's unbelievable. And so the song goes through, she talks about, I'm sure that it's about a human love interest, but if you listen to it with a different lens, you can see and feel how God works in our lives. See, she says, you won't see Him drinking at the table. You won't see Him staying out till 3. You won't see God being unfaithful. And you won't see Him seeking after power, fame, or greed. But what you will find is you'll find Him next to me. And see, I think that in our normal lives, we can be looking for these opportunities where God shows up. Again, I don't think that this song is necessarily about God, and yet it can still stir and it can still move inside of us. It's amazing. I went to a concert recently, and it was Florence and the Machine, and at a point in the concert, everybody was just standing there listening, and Florence just at one point raised her hands, and everybody raised their hands in unison. It's just this thing that kind of pulses through us. There's this vibe that we get when we listen to music. And so what I want to encourage throughout this series is that we look for places where God shows up, where God speaks to us in maybe really odd places that we wouldn't expect it. And the crazy thing about this song is I think that it's a really good example of how God does a great job of balancing this ability to be near us, to be next to us when we need it most, and yet to also give us space to keep distance. When I do marriages, when I ask parents if they bless the marriage, I always ask them 3 questions. I ask them, do you give your support? Do you bless this decision? But the next 2 questions I ask are very similar to how I think this song operates and the way I believe God operates in our lives. I ask, do you promise to continue to walk alongside these kids, these people that you've raised as you have to this point? And yet, oddly enough, do you also promise to give them the space they need to grow and start this new family? See, Jeremiah 23 through 24 talks about this. God says, am I a God who is always close, but am I also not the God who is far away? And it's this weird juxtaposition between I am there when you need me. I am right alongside you. Anytime you call, I'll be there. And yet I'm going to give you the space because you asked for it. You want space to make your own choices. And honestly, that's the only way that you can make an honest decision about me, about God. So it goes on to say, you can't really hide from me. Yeah, I know what's going on, but I exist everywhere. I exist in heaven and on earth. And so while I'm distant, while I allow you to have space to grow and learn and change, I also am right there when you need me. I think the song also communicates that when we go out and we're doing things that may not be healthy, when we're out partying or when we're out making mistakes and we're pursuing power, greed, fame, God doesn't necessarily go with us in those opportunities. He doesn't necessarily encourage us there. We won't meet Him in all of those things. But when we call, even if we have done all of those things, you can guarantee that he's with you. He's next to you. And so as you go through this week, just look for the places. Look for the places, examine your life. Where are those places that are maybe not of God, that are taking you further from him? But also look for the places, whether it's just a song on the radio, whether it's people that you interact with, or whether it's just something in the creation. Look for places where God will show up, because he is always there. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to follow us each week, click here to subscribe. And if you want to take it a little bit further, click here for discussion materials.